Have you ever, really noticed how the words we use don't just describe our reality, they actually build it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge factor.
Right. Because we spend so much time, searching for the perfect productivity hack or the ultimate morning routine.
The secret to finally getting our lives organized.
Exactly. But it turns out the mechanics of building a healthy lifestyle might actually have way less to do with willpower and, well, a whole lot more to do with the fundamental rules of grammar.
I mean, it completely reframes how we look at behavioral change.
Right.
We usually view personal growth as this, heavy construction project.
Like demolishing the old self to build something new from scratch.
Right, totally. But learning a language doesn't work like that at all. You start with a single word,
Yeah.
then a simple phrase. Then you sort of figure out the underlying structure. It's this microscopic, repetitive work that compounds over time into fluency.
And behavioral change operates on that exact same microscopic level. So, welcome to today's deep dive. We have a really fascinating stack of source material to get through today.
We really do.
What we're looking at is a curriculum designed with this brilliant dual purpose. It is simultaneously a comprehensive guide to optimizing your daily routines and a structured framework for teaching the English language.
Which is such an interesting combination.
It is. And our mission for this deep dive is to explore exactly how those two things intersect. We are going to look at how mastering a new skill perfectly mirrors the mechanics of transforming a chaotic lifestyle into an orderly one.
Right, and the curriculum uses two core case studies to really ground these concepts for you. First, we are introduced to a profile named Ryan.
Oh.
Yeah, Ryan represents the baseline of chaos. I mean, his day is basically a masterclass in self-sabotage.
It really is.
And contrasting him is Emma. Emma's profile represents a highly systematic, structural approach to fixing that exact type of chaos through very specific interventions.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the baseline. Let's look at Ryan. Because, to understand how to build a better system, we have to honestly examine where the current system is failing.
Exactly. You need to know the starting point.
Yeah. So the source walks us through a typical day in Ryan's life, and honestly, the details are uncomfortably relatable for a lot of people.
Oh, for sure. Very relatable.
He wakes up late almost every morning. Because he's rushing, he just completely skips breakfast.
Which is mistake number one.
Right. And then to compensate for the lack of calories and energy, he heavily overconsumes coffee throughout the entire day.
Just running on caffeine.
Yeah, he spends hours lost in mindless phone scrolling, rarely gets any physical exercise, goes to sleep well after midnight, and, as a result of all this, frequently forgets plans or arrives late to the commitments he does actually manage to remember.
On the surface, that reads like a really harsh critique of someone's character.
It sounds like he's just lazy.
Right. But if we pull back and look at it analytically, a distinct pattern emerges. These aren't just isolated decisions happening in a vacuum.
No, they're completely connected.
Exactly. We're looking at a cascading sequence of physiological and psychological events. Every single action is a direct symptom of the action that preceded it.
It's a domino effect. He's arriving late to his meetings because he has zero buffer time in his schedule.
Yep.
And he has no buffer time because he hit snooze 3 times and woke up late. And it woke up late because he was staring at a ceiling at 1:00 a.m.
So let's look at the biology of that domino effect. Why is he staring at the ceiling at 1:00 a.m.?
Right, why can't he just sleep?
Because he is caught in a caffeine loop. When you skip breakfast, your blood sugar plummets, which prompts a cortisol spike, a stress response.
Okay.
To fight off that stress and fatigue, Ryan floods his system with coffee. Now, caffeine works by blocking adenosine.
And adenosine is?
Adenosine is the brain chemical that makes you feel tired. It builds up while you're awake.
Yeah.
But here's the trick. The brain keeps producing that adenosine in the background, even while the coffee is blocking the receptors.
Oh, wow. So it's just pooling up in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when the coffee finally wears off in the late afternoon, all that accumulated adenosine rushes the receptors all at once, causing this massive energy crash.
Which perfectly explains the mindless scrolling. I mean, when you hit that kind of wall, you don't have the cognitive energy to read a book or go for a run.
No, not at all.
You just want cheap, easy dopamine, so you reach for the phone.
And that screen time emits blue light, which actively suppresses melatonin production, delaying the sleep cycle even further.
So he's completely wired but physically exhausted.
Yes, pushing his bedtime well past midnight. The whole cycle is locked in before the next day even begins.
It makes me think of a glitching operating system on a laptop.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Right. If you have a single corrupted line of code in the startup sequence, it might seem minor at first, but
No.
that tiny error causes a background program to loop.
Which makes the fan run too hard.
Exactly.
Look.
The fan running drains the battery and overheats the motherboard, and eventually the screen starts lagging and the entire system just crashes by noon.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening to his body.
Ryan's daily routine isn't just a collection of bad choices. It's a glitching operating system where the morning startup sequence is fundamentally broken.
And this raises a really important question for you listening right now. Because we all experience days where our own operating systems glitch.
Definitely.
Take a moment to reflect. Which of Ryan's specific glitches is running in the background of your day? Is it the delayed bedtime? The skipped meals?
The doom scrolling when your energy dips.
Right. Identifying your specific point of failure is the necessary prerequisite to actually rewriting that line of code.
So how do we write the patch? That brings us to the interventions modeled by the Emma profile in the curriculum.
The structured approach.
Yes. The source proposes a highly specific rebuild of the day, beginning in the very first moments after waking up.
It's all about those first few minutes.
It outlines 4 immediate micro-habits. First, make the bed the second your feet hit the floor. Second, drink a full glass of water. Third, prioritize a healthy breakfast. And fourth, replace the immediate urge to look at your phone with a few minutes of stretching or a short walk.
Now, these might sound like standard self-help talking points, but the underlying mechanics of why they actually work are deeply rooted in behavioral psychology.
Okay, break that down for us.
Take making the bed. It changes the visual geometry of your room. You are taking a chaotic environment and immediately imposing order on it.
Right.
That visual order subtly lowers your baseline stress every single time you walk past the room. Furthermore, it provides an immediate low-effort psychological win.
Which feels good.
Exactly, and that primes the brain to actively seek out the next completed task.
Wait, I have to stop you there and push back on this timeline a bit.
Okay, sure.
Because if we just mapped out Ryan's cascading failure, we kind of agreed that the root cause, the thing delaying his sleep and ruining his morning, is the midnight phone scrolling and the late bedtime. If the problem is happening at midnight, why are we focusing the intervention on making a bed at 8 a.m.? Shouldn't the fix start at the source of the problem?
I get that.
Yes.
It sounds counterintuitive to ignore the nighttime behavior, but you have to consider the state of your brain at midnight.
Which is basically mush.
Exactly. By the end of the day, your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for logical reasoning and impulse control, is completely depleted from a whole day of navigating stress and making decisions.
Oh, decision fatigue.
Yes, decision fatigue. Trying to enforce strict discipline at midnight, when your willpower is at its absolute lowest, is like trying to patch a leaking boat while you are in the middle of a hurricane. The conditions are entirely against you.
You're setting yourself up to fail because the tank is already empty.
Exactly. The morning, however, is dry dock. You have a fully replenished tank of cognitive energy. To leverage that morning energy to build positive momentum, which then carries you through the entire day.
Yeah.
By the time midnight rolls around, you aren't relying on sheer willpower to put the phone down.
You're just ready to sleep.
You simply feel satisfied enough with the day's accomplishments to naturally let go and go to bed.
That actually makes the glass of water first thing in the morning make a lot more sense, too.
Yeah.
Because you aren't just quenching thirst.
No, not at all.
You are intervening in a chemical process before it spirals out of control.
Right, because you lose a significant amount of water through respiration while you sleep. Waking up dehydrated naturally elevates your heart rate and your cortisol levels.
Which literally mimics the feeling of anxiety.
Yes. So by drinking water immediately, you rehydrate the brain tissue and flush the system before the caffeine ever hits your bloodstream.
So you are preventing the false anxiety spike that Ryan relies on coffee to suppress.
You're fixing the glitch before it starts.
What's really striking to me, though, is the swap from phone scrolling to stretching.
Oh, that's a big one.
Because we wake up and immediately reach for the phone because we want a hit of connection or, entertainment. But looking at the news or your email puts you in a defensive, reactive posture before you've even left the mattress.
And what's fascinating here is how this swap manipulates your dopamine baseline.
Okay, how so?
Well, when you grab your phone upon waking, you are flooding your brain with high-intensity, unearned dopamine.
Unearned, right.
You are literally training your neural pathways to expect maximum stimulation for zero physical effort. So when you put the phone down to go to work or study, everything else feels incredibly dull by comparison.
Which is why your focus just completely shatters.
Exactly. Stretching, on the other hand, requires a mild physical effort to achieve a mild physiological reward like increased blood flow and loosened muscles.
So it resets the scale.
It calibrates your dopamine receptors for a day of earned rewards rather than just instant gratification.
I love that. But I mean, a burst of morning dopamine and a made bed don't immunize you against the reality of, like, a Tuesday afternoon.
Very true.
I can crush my morning routine, but by 3:00 p.m., I can easily slide right back into Ryan mode.
And the curriculum addresses this exact drop-off. The morning routine simply buys you the clarity to manage the rest of the day.
So what's the plan for the afternoon?
The source emphasizes 3 specific afternoon and evening strategies: intense time management, utilizing a physical to-do list, and keeping a meticulously clean workspace.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. The source claims that by implementing these specific strategies, Ryan begins to show actual, measurable improvement in just 1 week.
Just 7 days.
Right. I mean, we're constantly told that forming a habit takes 21 days or 60 days or a whole year. But this curriculum suggests that the chaos can start turning into order in just 1 week of applied micro habits.
The speed of that transformation speaks directly to the concept of cognitive offloading.
Cognitive offloading, what does that mean in this context?
Well, the brain is an incredible processing engine, but it is terrible at long-term storage of immediate tasks. When your workspace is cluttered, your brain is subconsciously processing that visual noise.
Oh, like it's scanning the mess.
Yes, it is constantly monitoring the messy stack of papers or the unread mail. Similarly, when you keep all your tasks floating around in your head, you trigger the Zeigarnik effect.
The Zeigarnik effect.
It's the psychological tendency to remember uncompleted tasks better than completed ones. And that generates this low-level, constant hum of anxiety.
Oh, man. It's like having 20 different browser tabs open at the same time.
Exactly.
The computer might be running, but the memory is completely maxed out, and everything is just lagging.
Yes. And writing down a to-do list and clearing your desk is the equivalent of closing those browser tabs. You are offloading the processing power from your internal neural network onto an external piece of paper.
That makes so much sense. You no longer have to spend energy remembering what to do next. You just look at the list.
Conserving that cognitive energy is exactly how you survive the 3 p.m. afternoon slump without reaching for another cup of coffee or doom scrolling.
The environment does the heavy lifting for you.
Precisely.
But there is a massive trap hiding at the end of the week, which the source points out explicitly. The real linchpin to all of this isn't what you do on Tuesday, it's what you do on Saturday.
Ah, yes. The weekend is where most structural rebuilds just completely collapse.
Totally.
Because if you are diligent Monday through Friday, but then treat Saturday and Sunday as a completely different reality, you destroy the momentum.
It's so easy to justify, though. You put in 5 hard days, and you feel like you've earned the right to sleep until noon, eat poorly, and stay up until 3 a.m. watching movies.
But the biological cost of that justification is severe. It induces a phenomenon known as social jet lag.
Social jet lag.
By shifting your sleep and wake times by several hours on the weekend, you are physically doing the exact same thing to your circadian rhythm as flying across 3 time zones.
Wow.
So when Monday morning arrives, your struggle to wake up isn't a lack of willpower. It is a physiological jet lag. Your body literally thinks it is in a different time zone.
That is wild.
So the source insists that maintaining consistency with those core micro habits, waking up roughly the same time, drinking the water, doing the stretching, that protects the baseline you fought so hard to establish.
The physiological side of this curriculum is incredibly sound. We have the morning momentum, the cognitive offloading in the afternoon, the defense against social jet lag on the weekends.
Complete system.
It is, but we have to address the brilliant hidden layer of the source material, because this entire lifestyle intervention is secretly a framework for mastering English.
Yes. It operates perfectly as a Trojan horse.
A Trojan horse.
Yeah, the learner thinks they're absorbing a practical guide to time management and habit formation, but they are simultaneously receiving a highly structured grammar masterclass.
It's so clever. The curriculum seamlessly introduces the present, simple tense, time expressions, daily routine vocabulary, and common phrasal verbs.
All contextualized within the habits.
Right. But the absolute genius of the design lies in its focus on frequency adverbs. We're talking about words like always, usually, often, sometimes, and never.
The building blocks of routine.
Exactly. The curriculum uses these specific words to track Ryan's bad habits and Emma's good habits, all while stressing the need to study English every single day.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the reason this dual approach works so effectively is because of the psychological weight of the present simple tense.
Okay, unpack that. Why does the tense matter?
Well, in English, the present simple isn't just used for stating random facts. It is the fundamental language of identity and permanence.
Let's break that down. What is the difference in identity when you're choosing a tense?
Consider the progressive tense. If you say, I am drinking water, or I am trying to wake up early,
Okay.
you are describing a temporary state. It implies an action that has a clear beginning and an end. It's fleeting.
Right, like I'm doing it right now, but I might stop later.
Exactly. But when you switch to the present simple and say, I drink water, or I wake up early, you are no longer describing a temporary action.
You are making a declarative statement about your identity.
Yes, you are claiming the characteristics of a hydrated, early rising person. The grammatical structure forces the learner to internalize the habit as a core part of who they are.
That completely reframes the entire concept of personal growth. And those frequency adverbs act as the stepping stones to get to that new identity.
Exactly.
Think about a habit tracking app on your phone. The whole point is to tap a little circle every day you complete a task. The frequency adverbs are literally just the verbal manifestation of a habit tracker.
They map perfectly onto the behavioral spectrum of change.
Right. The goal of moving from Ryan's chaos to Emma's structure is just moving a behavior along that linguistic spectrum.
Step by step.
You begin by admitting, I never stretch in the morning. Then you force yourself to do it once or twice, and you move the tracker to, I sometimes stretch.
And as the weeks progress, and that cognitive offloading does its job.
Yeah, sometimes turns into, I often stretch, and then I usually stretch. The ultimate goal, the pinnacle of the habit loop, is reaching the point where you can honestly say, I always stretch.
The grammar literally maps the journey.
It does.
And the curriculum applies this exact same spectrum to the act of learning the language itself.
How so?
By framing the English study as just another daily micro-habit, placing it right alongside making the bed and drinking a glass of water, it removes the intimidation factor.
It makes it feel doable.
Right. It tells the learner that fluency isn't achieved through exhausting 8-hour cram sessions. It is achieved by moving the needle from I sometimes practice English to I always practice English in tiny 10-minute increments.
So what does this all mean? If we synthesize everything we've extracted from this curriculum, the core insight is incredibly empowering.
It really is.
Transforming a chaotic life into an orderly one doesn't require a wrecking ball. Fixing a broken sleep schedule, optimizing your daily energy, or, mastering a completely new language doesn't happen through massive, unsustainable bursts of motivation.
No, those always burn out.
Right. It happens by carefully rewriting the startup sequence of your day. It happens through microscopic, repetitive actions that compound over time.
And the curriculum concludes with a very practical push for application.
What do they want the learner to do?
It provides a review of 10 to 15 highly useful daily routine expressions, outlines 3 accessible daily challenges to jumpstart the process, and delivers a motivational message reinforcing this whole philosophy of incremental, step-by-step improvement.
It bridges the gap between theory and action. Because just knowing about the Zeigarnik effect or your dopamine baseline doesn't change your life until you actually alter your physical environment.
Which is why the final challenge is so critical. The value of this information lies entirely in its execution.
Exactly.
For anyone listening, look ahead to tomorrow morning. You don't need to overhaul your entire existence by 9:00 a.m.
Please don't try to.
Right. Look at Emma's list and select just one micro-habit. Commit to a single glass of water before your coffee, or 2 minutes of stretching instead of checking your email. Pick one behavior and focus solely on shifting it from never to sometimes.
Small shifts create massive trajectories. But before we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over as you transition back into your day.
Let's hear it.
We've spent a lot of time exploring how to deliberately add positive habits, how to build morning momentum, and how to track our progress toward the word always. We focus heavily on the things we are trying to start.
Right.
But turn the lens backward for a moment. Examine your current routines. What is the one invisible always habit running in the background of your day right now? A behavior so automatic and deeply ingrained that you don't even register doing it, that might be quietly functioning as the corrupted code holding your entire system back.